Good evening, everyone. People, am I audible to all of you? Please let me know.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Great. So we are just about to start. I think it's already late by 2-3 minutes. But today it's a session, a kind of a session in which I would be talking about parajumbles, 4 sentences. So many of you must have attended the sessions with 2 sentences, 3 sentences. So all these are just basics. But today I would be taking sentences with parajumbles with 4 sentences, or maybe more than 4 sentences. Now, the point is that when we talk about 4 sentences, this is the kind of question we get in the exam. In the exam, you will have 4 sentences. In the unexpected cases, you might have 5 sentences. We haven't seen parajumbles with 5 sentences since a long, long time. But it is possible. You cannot totally rule out the 5 sentence parajumble. But I think what we see in the exam is that what we see in the exam is usually it is in the case of uh, that we see it is 4 sentence and 5 sentence we have odd one out. Anyways, so now when you come to 4 sentence parajumble or 5 sentence parajumble, then you have to create a process. Now, I have always talked about process. I emphasize too much on process. I always say process, process, method, method. I keep on yelling at everyone. Method banao, method banao. When I say method, what do I mean by method? Method means a process, a step-by-step procedure that you would follow. You would follow this at the start. Once you become very, very good with something, you don't follow the process. You basically start inventing, innovating. I used to, I watch cricket. I used to watch cricket a lot. So in that, we used to watch lots of interviews of cricketers. So when they started learning the art of bowling or batting, they used to be very technically sound. Because if you're not technically very sound, then you would not be able to innovate. So first of all, you have to be technically very sound, even in quant, LR, verbal. So you have to follow the method. Once you have mastered the method and the process, you will start finding shortcut techniques of your own. And each person's technique is different in that case. So sometime you will find that yes, there are certain shortcuts which work for you. Smart guessing is one of the methods which people follow. Sometimes you'll find that there is a different way of doing things. So each person has his own unique way, particularly in quant and LRDI. In verbal, the techniques don't work much. You have to be very careful because on a certain day the techniques might work, on a certain day they all might flop. So that's why in one mock people get a score as high as uh, let's say almost 70% of what they attempted they get correct. Some other day they get most of them wrong. That's why I always insist that you please follow the process. Now, what is the process of parajumble? So I will repeat this again. Okay, parajumble approach. Parajumble approach. This is how I put it. Step by step approach. Okay. Always, whenever you have 4 sentences, let's see, we have 4 sentences A, B, C, D given to us, and they have asked us to enter the sequence here. This is the okay. So what is the process now? So you have 4 sentences A, B, C, D, and you need to pull the sequence. So first thing is identify the opening sentence. You identify. It may be wrong, it may be right, you don't know. But if this is correct, and it should turn out to be correct, identify the opening sentence. Now, what happens with opening sentence? Sometimes the question is so tough that the opening sentence itself is difficult to identify. So you start everything, you start the parajumble with opening sentence, but you don't know which opening sentence to begin with. You feel that even A can be an opening sentence, even C can be an opening sentence, D also looks like a good opening sentence. In that case, the question is very tough because the problem is that if everyone looks like an opening sentence, then it is very difficult to fix them. So you should identify the difficulty level right at the start so that you don't waste much time in solving a question that is slightly difficult or outrightly very difficult. You can save time. See, the sooner you predict the difficulty of a question, the sooner you can leave it. And that saves time. I don't say that every question in CAT exam or IPMAT exam is always doable. I sometimes see some questions which are so full of nonsense. I just don't like some questions. I feel yaar ye to hoga hi nahi. You should not have wasted much time on these kind of questions. The point I'm trying to make is the sooner you identify that the question is difficult, the sooner you would move out of it and you can save time. But if you give too much time to it and then you realize that the question is very difficult, okay, the realization has come. But by the time that realization comes to you, you would have lost around 3 to 4 minutes. You would have confused, you have become frustrated, you have become annoyed, and then you leave that question, you go to the next one with the baggage that you have wasted 2 3 minutes and you have not got the question right. You have either just yes, in PJs you will find that most of the time questions are tough. Most of the time the questions are very tough. Out of three, one can be solved usually. This is my strike rate is out of three, one. One, people definitely get it right. Every year I get one question correct. Second one, if I'm lucky, I get correct. Otherwise, most of the time I get two questions wrong. It never works for me. That's why I always say parajumbles, I do it. If I get one easy question, I will get it correct. But it helps me getting the odd one out correct. And this year you had a question which was very similar to what you have in IPMAT. But in the blank in which the paragraph is given, the blank is there and you have to fit in the sentence. So this kind of question can also help if you have solved parajumbles properly. So the first thing is identify the opening sentence. This is very, very important. You have to identify the opening sentence. And this usually does not take much time. Now, what happens after this? The second thing which has to go on parallelly, these are not discrete process, discrete steps. Discrete का मतलब ये है कि they are not two separate things. They are basically something which can go on simultaneously. ठीक है, दाल चावल कैसे बनाते हैं? एक पे दाल, एक पे कुकर, एक पे दाल, एक पे आप चावल चढ़ा दो. So you are basically cooking rice and dal at the same time. So while you are identifying the opening sentence, you also have to parallelly spot pairs. This is something that can help you save lots of time, and sometimes we arrive at both these things simultaneously. So for example, in this case, what you would say that D is the opening sentence, and I believe that CA is a pair, or D is the opening sentence, and definitely DC is a pair. So the moment you do this, the moment you have finished step one and you have finished step two, automatically you 50% chance of getting the answer correct. How? Because suppose if you put D like this and CA like this, then B will come either here or B will come either here. 50% chance, right? If you have DC here, then either B would come here, A would come here, or A would come here, B would come here. 50% chance. So what happens is you identify the opening sentence and you have spotted a pair, and almost the answer is done. Almost. So, a parajumble which looks like a very complex question, you feel, this can be done in a quick amount of time. I don't say that you'd finish it in 15-20 seconds, but sometimes 1 minute, you might be able to get the question correct. Sometimes. And if you can leave the difficult questions by identifying it or by taking a guess at it within 1 minute, 3 minutes, you can solve 4 minutes, 5 minutes, you can solve three parajumbles, you get one correct, you have got +3 marks or whatever marks you have got. So I would say that it's not a bad deal at least. So now you would say, okay, 50% chance of getting the answer correct. Why? Because you have to just fit one more sentence at some place and you get the answer correct. The point is how to spot the pairs, how to form pairs. Now that is something that today I would be focusing on. How to create pairs. This is something that we all have to understand, and I have given so many clues to you. One of the most frequent clues I have given is that of pronoun. Pronouns can be effectively used to form pairs. Very effective. In fact, 70 to 80% questions can be solved by using pronouns. And I will take the very first example right in front of you. So without wasting much time, I would go to the question which I have brought with me today. So without questions, it's difficult to understand parajumbles. I want all of you to try this question. There are 5 sentences. Again, you will not get 5 sentences in the exam, but I want all of you to try this question. There are 5 sentences and tell me that can you identify the opening sentence and can you form pairs? So carry out step one identify the opening sentence, and carry out step 2, try to form pairs, and see how close you are to the answer. Please try this. And we will see what we have used to form pairs. Opening sentence, which sentence can be an opening sentence? Can anyone tell me?
The C.
भाई किसी को सी लगा, किसी को सी लगा है, अंकित को सी लगा है, और किसको लग रहा है? देखो, the moment I read the sentences, I know that this person is not identified. I know that this cannot be the opening sentence, and these elements cannot be an opening sentence. So immediately I know that my opening sentence would be either C or B. B says Uranus, the more refined deity. You know, this also creates a problem for me. This needs comparison. Yes or no? More refined in comparison to whom? So you need to introduce that element first, and then this sentence will come. So out of all the sentences, I know that sentence C is going to be my opening sentence. The ancient Greeks had several different theories with regard to the origin of the world. But the generally accepted notion was that before this world came into existence, there was in its place a confused mass of shapeless elements called chaos. So you talk about the ancient Greeks, and they had some theories about the origin of the world, and maybe this is what their introduction to that theory is. So C becomes an opening sentence. There is no doubt about it. Did you form a pair? Any two sentences that would be a pair for sure. And so you would say, okay, this refers to her. I don't know who her is, so we need to identify this person. Thus came into being. Now, what is the meaning of this word thus? Can anyone tell me? इसका मतलब कि ये thus क्या है? Thus means in this way. Thus technically means in this way. So if you say thus came into being two first great primeval deities, then how do you that means this thus is referring to some process which must have come earlier. So this needs a very, very strong connection. Otherwise, it won't make sense. So where is that connection? Where is that birth happening of deities? I don't see in C any birth happening of any deity. In B, you have Uranus, the more refined deity, but it does not make sense. Why? Because you need something before it. So the only thing that D can connect with is E, right? The only thing that D can connect with is E. These elements becoming at length consolidated resolved themselves into two widely different substances, the lighter portion of which soaring on high formed the sky and constituted itself into a vast overarching vault. So these elements again needs a reference, and these elements goes to this place. So if you read it here carefully, these elements refers to shapeless elements. And thus came into being two primeval deities, Uranus and Gaia. So what you have is, you have two things becoming. These elements became at length consolidated, resolved into two widely different substances. What is the first substance? The lighter portion became the sky, and the firm and solid mass beneath. So the lighter portion became the sky, the solid mass came below, and you have the Uranus and Gaia being born. So from C, you go to E, and from E, you go to B. So this is a pair, right? And then you would say, okay, so Uranus, the more refined deity. Okay, so now when you say Uranus, the more refined, see, the more refined is basically these two are born. So you have given names to them that thus came into being two primeval deity. One is Uranus, the other is Gaia. Uranus, the more refined deity. So Uranus is the more refined deity, represented the light and air of heaven, possessing the distinguishing qualities of light, heat, purity, etc. Right? And while Gaia, this is the archaic form of wild. So whilst is equal to wild. While Gaia, the firm, flat, life-sustaining earth, was worshipped as the great all-nourishing mother. So Uranus represented the light and air of heaven, whereas Gaia was the mother, and that's why with the word her, it refers to Gaia, because only a mother can take the feminine gender. That means for her to make sense, you must introduce as to whether you mean Uranus or Gaia. So because you have used the word mother for Gaia, that means BA is a pair that comes towards the end and finishes the job. So it becomes a little lengthy because you have one more sentence. You will not have 5 sentences, hopefully, and I think it will not be there. But again, what you learn is that if you analyze this entire question and if you ask that what has helped you crack this question, then there are two things. One is you have identified the opening sentence and placed it in the right place. Secondly, you have used the pronouns very effectively to connect the sentences. You used this pronoun, correct? You used this pronoun. So all these pronouns you have used in a very smart way, and by using them, you immediately connected the sentences. Now, if you look at this, this also is a kind of a pronoun, because thus means in this way. So this entire question has been cracked simply by using pronouns. If you look at all the past year papers in which parajumbles have come, in almost 90% of the cases, by using parajumbles, we are able to get, by using pronouns, we are able to get the question correct. Just by using the pronouns, you can crack this.
सर तो फिर कैट में इतना मुश्किल क्यों हो जाता है जब प्रोनाउन से ही बन जाता है तो
एक ही क्वेश्चन बनेगा ना, एक ही क्वेश्चन बनता है ऑन एन एवरेज. पैराजम्बल में एक ही बनता है मोस्टली. देयर आर पीपल हु गेट 2 क्वेश्चंस करेक्ट एज वेल. क्या करेंगे? बट प्रोनाउंस का खाली यूसेज है ना, यहाँ पे नहीं है. When you read, and if you want to read very fast, understand this. Now, that is where the broader application comes of parajumbles. When you read paragraphs and you read RC and you want to read very fast, understand the most frequently occurring thing is the pronoun. So tracking the pronoun and keeping track of it subconsciously is very important, because the moment you lose the track of the pronoun, you lose the track of everything. When I used to read novels, I used to read Russian novels a lot. Tolstoy, Dostoevsky. When I was very young. Now I don't have time to read Russian novels. So they are almost 500, 600, 800 pages, and they have almost 100, 120, 130 characters, and they keep on coming and going. So it was very difficult for me to track as to what the author means by he, who is she here, who is it here, what is going on. So I used to always go back and check, अरे यार कौन सा pronoun है, किसकी बात कर रहा है ये? Because I was not very good at tracking the pronouns. So one of the things that pronouns do for you is that they help you keep track of the idea. So if the author has started discussing something in a certain paragraph, he uses the noun to introduce the idea. And then to refer to that idea every now and then, he uses the pronoun. Sometimes he puts one more noun and then refers the pronoun to that noun. But what happens as a reader, you basically think that this pronoun is referring to something else. And that is where the confusion starts. So author refers with pronoun A, you think it is referring to B. And then you have misunderstanding. That is the primary reason why many of you sometimes make very silly mistakes in RCs. सर मेरे तो गलती हो गई सर, मिसअंडरस्टैंड कर लिया मैं. ये बहुत कॉमन होता है बिकॉज ऑफ नॉट बीइंग एबल टू कनेक्ट द प्रोनाउंस. So the pronoun in itself will not be able to 100% guarantee that you will get the question correct, because pronoun is just one step in the direction, because you will have more sentence connectors. And when you get all of these together, then you will start getting the probability of getting the question correct increases dramatically. So today, if you know how to use the pronouns, you might miss the question by just one sentence. But if you had no idea of the pronouns, you would have missed the question completely. ये फर्क हो जाता है actually. So pronouns always understand, even in RCs also. Whenever you see the pronoun, you have to subconsciously keep on tracking it. ये कहाँ जा रहा है, किसकी बात कर रहा है? Because you keep on linking the ideas. ठीक है. So pronouns very useful. 90% of the questions can be very easily cracked with the help of pronouns. Again, easily cracked doesn't mean that you will definitely crack it. So now let's go to the next step. मैंने एक और step बताया हुआ है. So pronouns can be used to connect sentences. So here you have identify the opening sentence. Parajumble approach क्या है? Step 1, identify the opening sentence. Step 2, spot pairs. Now, pronouns will help you form pairs. That is clearly given here. The second thing that you use to form pairs is sentence connector. This is something I will discuss very elaborately today. In fact, I had to discuss this before as well, but I thought, okay, ये चीज जो है sentence connector. Many of you don't know the meaning of sentence connector, but I will today explain. ये मेरा क्वेश्चन है, मतलब ये IPMAT का नहीं है. It's my question. I mean, 5 सेंटेंस लिए हैं, but it's not there in either of the exams. ठीक है. So let's go and discuss characters कि भाई characters को कैसे हम करेंगे. Now I will share a sheet here and I will explain to you what we mean by sentence connector. ठीक है. Because this is again a very important concept. I will just share. All of you can see it now. Connectors का sheet दिख रहा है सबको? Everyone can see the sheet of connectors.
Yes, sir.
Okay, ठीक है. So characters का मतलब क्या होता है and what do they actually, what is their job? So a short while back we discussed pronouns. The job of the pronoun is to refer to a noun most of the time. So you use the noun first occasion, then you always refer to that noun using a pronoun. That's why pronouns can be used to connect sentences. What do connectors do? Connectors create, ठीक है, understand, create a logical link between two sentences. Very important. What do connectors do? Connectors create a logical link between two sentences. They are often adverbs. But because they do the job of connecting, we call them adverbial conjunction. Most of the time, again, I'm not telling you हमेशा यही होता है. They are, most of the time we call them as adverbial conjunction. Because they are adverbs and they are connecting two sentences, we have used the term adverbial conjunction. ठीक है? So I will give you all the examples now. Don't worry about it. But what is a connector? Connector creates a logical link between two sentences. So there is sentence A, there is sentence B, there is something in B that has come that shows that it is connecting with A. And why it is connecting with A. These connectors, like pronouns, can be used very frequently to connect two ideas. Even while reading RCs or passages or articles, you'll find that authors always express opinions. Sometimes they add, sometimes they contrast, sometimes they contradict, sometimes they take a U-turn. So all these messages they give through grammatical links, not always words. So I will just give you an example. Okay, everyone look at this. Connectors are used to link large group of words, phrases, and sentences. You can also use them to connect paragraph. Okay. Now, how do you use contrasting connectors? Look at this word, however, and see how it has come in the sentence. This restaurant has the best kitchen in town. Sentence A है ना ये? However, their staff are quite rude. है ना? You can refer to certain nouns with plural also. It works that way. This restaurant has the best kitchen in town. However, their staff are quite rude. Now, what are the two contrasting things? The two contrasting thing is the best kitchen, which is positive, staff rude, negative. So because there is positive and negative, there is a contrast, and therefore you have used the word however. And आप use करोगे नहीं करोगे. You can have used but also. But would have done the job. This restaurant has the best kitchen in town, but their staff is quite rude. Or this restaurant has the best kitchen in town, however, their staff is quite rude. आपने मुझसे पूछा, sir, should I fill this particular college form? Is the college good? I would say the college is decent. However, it is very expensive. The college is decent. However, it is very expensive. Decent means the college is good, a positive idea. It is very expensive, maybe a negative idea, because none of us prefer expensive stuff. So that's why I have put the word however. You tell me, sir, sir, मेरे को है ना बहुत doubt है parajumble में. Can I come tomorrow at your center? No, tomorrow I am not there. Full stop. However, you can come day after tomorrow at 12 noon. I would be available. Tomorrow I am not there. Full stop. After that, you can, comma, however, come day after tomorrow at 12 noon. I will be available. So, however, you can use but and however are the same thing. But is a conjunction, however is a adverbial conjunction. It's just a matter of style. But is a very strong contrast. However is just a minor contrast. समझ में आया कि नहीं? But is a very strong contrast. However is a minor contrast. ये फर्क है.
Yes, I got it, sir.
समझ में आ रहा है सबको? Everyone is clear about however. So however is just one word. You can also use many other different kind of connectors. For example, look at in contrast. Now this is basically a kind of connecting phrase. House prices have gone up this year. In contrast, car prices seem to be stagnating. So one thing is going up, the other is stagnant. So you say in contrast. Nevertheless, this is a more appropriate adverbial conjunction. I was in so much pain, I didn't want to get up in the morning. Nevertheless, I went to football practice as usual. Yesterday, I was very tired. I came back from the party at 10 p.m. I nevertheless dropped a message to my boss regarding all my work and something like this. आपने मुझसे पैसे मांगे, सर बहुत पैसों की जरूरत है सर, I can't ask for money from my father. So I will tell no, I can't give you that much money. I will nevertheless talk to your father and somehow persuade him to give you the money, give you some money. So I said, no, I will not help you. I will nevertheless do something for you. Something like this, you know. So nevertheless, nonetheless, all these are basically what we call as contrasting adverbs or contrasting adverbial conjunctions. And it just goes on. However, in contrast, nevertheless, nonetheless, nevertheless, however, they do the same job almost. Yet is a very strong. So yet and but are very similar in the sense that if you look at the word yet, you'll find that how to use yet and how to use but. This could be a question in fill in the blank. Lots of exams have fill in the blanks in them. Yet or but, are they replaceable? They both contrast, but I will just give you a very good example. I like cricket, and I like cricket, full stop. Or you can say, but my wife likes football. Okay. But can I replace this with yet? Would it sound good? I like cricket, comma, yet my wife likes football. What is wrong in this application? Why does but is a contrasting conjunction does not go well with yet? Or rather, this sentence but makes sense, but yet does not make sense. What is logically flawed here? Understand the logic of language, because ultimately grammar is logic of language. I just have a question for you all. Why can't I replace but with yet if both are contrasting conjunctions or adverbs? I mean, this is more of an adverbial nature, but okay, they both are contrasting conjunctions, they can be used. Can anyone tell me? A very simple question, and yet it has great depth. Yet is used when it is contrary to expectation. समझ में आया सबको? But not necessarily contrary to expectation, but yet is always used contrary to expectation. Understand this. I studied very hard for CAT, ZAT, IPMAT, yet I did not score good marks. Now can I say yet makes sense? Both yet and but makes sense, but yet makes more sense. Why? It is more forceful, it is more emphatic. Why? Because it is contrary to expectation. So if you call me twice and I don't receive your calls, you would say, I called you, sir, but you did not receive the call. If my wife calls me, she would say, I called you thrice, yet you did not receive the call. Getting my point? So there is expectation of receiving the call. And if it is not met, it is yet. But there is a genuine case in which I hope you understand this. I hope I have made it clear the difference between yet and but. It changes the tone of the sentence. So if you want to identify the tone of the author, uh, yet is a very forceful, disappointing tone. But is just giving a very generic, passive tone to it. So certain words, when they are used, they give the sense of the author's emotion as well. Are we clear now that these are not very small things? They speak a lot about the mood of the author, the tone of the author, the tone of the writer. Okay. On the other hand, I think it's very common. On the other hand, you know what is the meaning of on the other hand? This is such a common thing. England has the best language schools. On the other hand, it has the worst weather. You can say if Delhi has the best science colleges in the country, full stop. On the other hand, the B schools in Delhi are not that good. Something like this. So by comparison, on the contrary, see, instead, I have used this so many times in parajumbles in the past. And look, we have used it here. Now, what is the purpose of instead? Instead is always a contrasting conjunction. I forgot to mention that to you. But whenever you bring instead, that means there is one positive, one negative. So uh, I will not go to Delhi next weekend. Instead, I'm planning to travel to the city at the on month end. So I will not go to Delhi next weekend. Instead, I'm planning to travel to the city uh, on the last day of the month. Something like this. So instead means what? There is one negative, one positive. Negative preferably first and positive later on. So very important. Now let's see if there is a similar question. But before that, let me give you one more idea. Similarity. So पहला वाला क्या था? Two sentences, they had contrasting ideas, and therefore there was a contrasting conjunction. But it is not necessary that they will always have contrast. They might have similarity as well. They might add information. So similarity में क्या use होता है? Likewise, similarly, correspondingly, in the same way. Also, all these are very frequently used for showing similarity. You can't give your phone number to every man who asks for it. Likewise, you can't go out with everyone who fancies you. Yeah. Similarly, you are not allowed to use your phone here. Similarly, you have to switch it off when you are in the library. So यहाँ पे use नहीं करना है, library में भी use नहीं करना है. She is an excellent photographer. Correspondingly, her paintings are works of art. In the same way also. So not perfect sentences, but somehow they give you a gist of how things work. So just to explain similarity, I will take one question and I want you to give the answer. Take minute, sorry. I think it's already shared. Okay, chalo. Please take the second question and tell me how would you go about with this. Similarity is always comparison in a similar way. Yes, similarity is always comparison in the same way. है ना? हमेशा similarly is always comparison, negative or positive, whichever way. India is very hot. North India is very hot in the summers. Similarly, you can say similarly, Florida is pretty warm in the month of May and June, something like this. Please take this question. We have used similarly here. So this becomes a connecting point. This will help you create a pair. I want to see how many of you are able to create a pair. Now, this needs linguistic intelligence. Which sentence will go with 4? क्या लिखा है लोगों ने? 2 के साथ जाएगा. ओके ओके ओके, एवरीवन हैज गिवन 2. Okay, now look at this question, है ना? Some people have given the answer as well. Fantastic. You have taken so little time to answer the question. But now let me start like this. The moment you see a question in parajumble, you should basically look at all the pronouns and all the adverbial conjunctions. So when I look at this, it says similarly, rhythmic motions like the muted clank of a train ride coax many of us adults into an instant slumber. Slumber मतलब sleep होता है. Similarly कहाँ होगा? Rocking babies to sleep. Rocking babies to sleep to both quiet the wails of youth and preserve the sanity of young parents has been commonplace dating back to prehistory. So rocking babies to sleep. Small babies, rocking basically means वो नहीं होता. Many people you should have good vocabulary. Yeah? Rocking babies basically means the cradle of the baby. If you move it up, move it to and fro, it is rocking. Rock का मतलब आगे पीछे घुमाना. So to rock means to move. So होता ना, I had a rocking weekend. That means your weekend was full of movement, dancing or something. So you rock, basically you move up and down or to and fro. So rocking babies to sleep is very common. Similarly, rhythmic motions like the muted clank of a train ride coax many of us adults into. So babies go to sleep because of rocking. Similarly, the motions of the train also put us to sleep. Now, one thing you have to be very, very careful about. When you don't understand something, you don't worry about it. So, ये muted clang क्या होता है? मेरे को भी नहीं पता. Even I don't know what is muted clang. Believe me, I have been taking this question for the past 2-3 years. I am yet to know. I'm yet to understand what does the author mean by muted clang. I don't know. But what I understand from it, that rhythmic motions of a train coax many of us into sleep. So what I do intelligently, similarly, rhythmic motions of a train ride coax many of us into instant slumber. अच्छा, तो जिस तरह से rocking babies puts them to sleep, rhythmic motions in a train puts me to sleep. Simple. ये क्या है, ये क्या है, coax मेरे को समझा नहीं, but मोटा मोटी वही होगा. So don't make vocabulary something that starts bothering you all the while, because your job is to connect the sentence, finding all the clues. If there are more than enough clues, you can connect the sentences without worrying about whether you know the meaning of that word or this word. This is what the mistake people make. They become obsessed with what they don't know. I tell them that you don't be obsessed with what you don't know. You should be focusing on what you know. So I see that 2 and 4 is a pair. So now I have to fit one more sentence, and that is the opening sentence. I see that this is the opening sentence. There is no better opening sentence. 2-4 to ban gaya na. Now the answer is either 3-1 or 1-3. Tell me what is the answer? Yes. Research shows in both humans and mice, rocking to sleep may have significant health benefits such as better quality of sleep and even improve long-term memory formation. है ना? Even in people who were already good sleepers, rocking shortened the time it took for subjects to fall. How would you put it? Would you put it 3-1 or 1-3? ये क्यों यूज किया आपने? What is the meaning of the word even? What is the purpose of what is the purpose of the word even? Can you tell me? Even I would not.
+1.
It is it is adding something. It is adding something by way of emphasis. Even क्यों यूज करते हैं? To add something by way of emphasis. Positive comparison hai, not a contrast. Yes, positive comparison. But because something has come before, you can use even. Kaise? Cat paper bahut tough hua. So you had to give reason to your parents that you have not done well. The paper was very tough, Papa. Even my friend so and so, who was very, very good with quant, could manage only to solve 3 questions. Did you understand? So this, can I say, goes well with something, and what is that thing? Humans and mice. Humans and mice, rocking can put them to good sleep. Even in people who were already good sleepers, they had better quality of sleep. Does it not go very well with one? The movement from 1 to 3 is very good. Research shows in both humans and mice, rocking to sleep may have significant health benefits, and even in people who are already good sleepers. है ना? तो आपने कहा कि joining learning VRC from Brijesh sir can help you improve your score. Even people who are very, very good could improve their score significantly. So research shows that in both humans and mice, rocking to sleep may have significant health benefits, even in people who were already good sleepers. So even is actually emphasizing positively, it is adding something, and therefore this forms a pair. So 2, 4 and 1, 3. The point is that some of you, I would have, of course, 2, 4, 1, 3 is the right answer. Many people say it is 1, 3, 2, 4 also possible. Is this a better choice or is this a better choice? Please tell me. 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 3. Similarly हो गया, सब कुछ कर लिया आपने. So similarly is not bothering you much now. But still, you are a little far away from the right sequence. Some of you would say 2, 4, 1, 3. Now, if you look at this, I have always told you about chronology. Right? If you remember, I always speak about chronology. So what do I mean by chronology? Past, right? Past, present, and then the future. So if you want to discuss something, just a moment here. Prehistory, rocking babies to sleep. What happens is rocking babies to sleep has been commonplace dating back to prehistory. So this is a common phenomena. Even the adults, and then you come with the research. Research shows in both humans and mice rocking sleep. So what happens is you talk about prehistory, the traditional practice of human beings. Then you talk about research. Research shows in both humans and mice rocking to sleep may have significant health benefits. So the idea of rocking has been introduced here. And then you talk about research. So you talk about rocking babies to sleep. You talk about similar things happening in adults. And then you talk about the research part. So you are moving from the traditional wisdom of people. Then you come to the research part, which is again in the modern era. And then you say even in people who were already good sleepers rocking. So I would go from 2 to 4 and then to 1 and then to 3. This is the right sequence. 4 sentences are much more manageable. 5 sentences become too long. Clear to everyone, people now, how we have used the adverb similarly and the adverb even to connect the sentence and get the right answer. Everyone is clear, है ना? बढ़िया है. Easy है एकदम, कोई difficult नहीं है. So similarly, if I go to the other paragraph here, if I look at this, you will find that there are many, many more connectors. This is just one example we have taken. So I will erase everything. Similarity and contrast we have seen. Result, a consequence of something, right? So you have used the word as a result. I have done a pranic healing course as a result. This connects these two sentences. Zach has skipped school on many occasions as a consequence, or you might even use consequently. Sometimes we use consequently. I studied very hard for CAT. Consequently, I got a very, very good score. So you can use as a result, you can use as a consequence, or you can simply use as a, you can use the adverb consequently. Therefore, we are going to experience some meteor showers in the next few days. Therefore, the number of miraculous self-healings will rise. Therefore, thus. So this is a conclusion. And the other thus we used in the earlier case is a pronoun. You didn't tell me you wanted to come, thus we won't be taking you with us. Correct? Or hence की तरह ही हो गया है. They both are similar in this respect. That's why, yeah, that's why is used as result. इनफैक्ट रीजन होता है, दैट्स वाई. So when you say that's why I have come here, so I want to write cat paper, that's why I have come here. That's why is basically showing a reason which has come in the earlier sentence rather than a consequence. It's a reason. Consequence is result of something. Reason is basically the cause of something. So result and cause are two different things. Don't confuse them. So you can use sequencing. Sequencing के लिए भी हमने use किया है. Firstly, first of all, in the first place, first of all, I would like to talk about the benefits of having a pet pig. To begin with, pet pigs are cleaner than dogs. For one thing, they are completely loyal to their owners. Secondly, to begin with, firstly, secondly, in the third place, and all these, besides, such a common word, look at this. It's very common, besides, and also. Besides not eating much, they won't ever chew on their, for example, besides, I find, besides, I find engineering so boring. So the moment you see the word besides, it strikes you that something has come before. And I sat beside him. Please understand, these are very, very important differences. What is the difference here? Ye beside preposition hai. This is a preposition and this is an adverb. It means in addition to. So besides with S means in addition to and acts as an adverb. I sat beside him is a preposition. It means bagal mein. It shows position of a person. So in some exams like SNAP and ZAT or some other, even in IPMAT also, you'll find these kind of distinctions are very common. There is one sentence in which the author, I sat besides him. This is error. This is a grammatical error because I sat beside him rather than besides him. But here, beside is incorrect. It should be besides. That's why S has been used here. Please be mindful of these errors. Train your eyes and mind to observe and spot these errors. Besides not eating much, they won't ever chew your effort. In addition, furthermore, moreover, finally. So ऐसा नहीं कि whenever you add, you always use and. कि and से addition होता है. ऐसा नहीं कि हमेशा addition and से ही होता है. So in school, you have been taught that whenever you see and, it has been something is being added. But and is just a poor conjunction. Its usage is very limited. What is done by and can be done by also. What is done by also can be done in an emphatic way by even. What is done by even can be done by besides, in addition to, furthermore, moreover, finally. There are so many different adverbs that help you do the same job which and would have done. Now you might ask this question to me, कि सर अरे and job कर देगा तो बाकी की जरूरत क्या है? See, writers want to be very stylish. You don't like to wear the same shirt to office or the same trouser or the same pair of shoes. Similarly, writers also want to have variety and variety of style, variety. They want to have color in their language. And that's the reason why they use all these things. So if you want to add information, you can use all these phrases or all these adverbs, not necessarily always and. Beside and besides. अरे beside मतलब बगल में. Besides means इसके अलावा. Hindi mein, please, I'm using Hindi. Many people are from South India, so they have issues. But if I want to give you a very, very simple explanation, beside means bagal mein. You are in hospital. I came to see you. तो आप क्या बोलोगे? अरे sir came to see me and he sat beside me for 3 hours teaching me all the beautiful grammar concepts. Yes or no? Sir came to visit me. He sat beside me. बगल में बैठे थे ना, beside हो गया. Many people came to see me when I was in hospital. They came because they loved me. Besides, I owed them lots of money. Besides, in addition to, I hope you're able to understand these things. Clear to everyone? ठीक है, तो भाई हमने क्या देखा? Similarity, contrast, and addition. Very, very important. You either add, you either contrast, or either you give similarity of information. So all the three things have been seen. Now we can go and check the other things. तो मैं इसको erase करता हूँ, आगे बढ़ते एक मिनट, sorry, clear all करता हूँ. Let's go ahead. Order of importance. So very simple. Above all, you see how frequently it is used and how it can be used. It can be effectively used to join sentences. I would like to talk to you about how to keep calm at your workplace. Most importantly, never go to the canteen while your boss is there. So most importantly means primarily, very important. Above all, see, this is very important. Above all, don't ever look up from your notes when people are around. So if I want to tell you, sir, CAT की तैयारी कैसे करें? How should I study VARC? No longer solve these many parajumbles, solve these many RCs. Above all, you have to ensure that you read 5 pages of something daily. So above all basically means, ठीक है, मतलब I have said something and I am also emphasizing on something more. So there are lots of connectors, particularly more specifically example. Now this is very frequently used in most of the parajumbles. But when I have used questions, I have used this very frequently. Now, suppose if I say, look at this sentence. For example, let's say Lucknow is famous for Mughlai cuisine. ठीक है, चलो बहुत बढ़िया. If I only say Lucknow is famous for its Mughlai cuisine, then you would say, okay, it makes sense. It makes a very good sense. It can be an opening sentence of a paragraph, right? But if I say, for example, Lucknow is famous for, then you would say, sir, now I don't understand. What exactly you have in mind? Did you say something before? To solve this problem, you might want to try making all gestures. For example, there was a question that I took in one of the on the odd sentences. For example, chronic pain, something like this can be cured. So this can only make sense if you have something like this. Appreciate the small things your spouse does for you. For instance, leave thank you notes for them every now and then. So author says you have to appreciate the small things your spouse does for you. For example, leave thank you notes for them every now and then. Misunderstandings can be highly destructive. To illustrate, that means, for example, for instance. So highly uncommon, not very common. For instance and for example is quite common. And further, if you go here, this is exemplification. We have used the word exemplification here. And then if you scroll down here, you will see explanation. Now, that is something someone pointed out a short while back. That is to say, this is giving you explanation, not a reason. Keep romance alive. That is to say, don't let your love life fall into a routine. So you are, can I say, explaining something that has come before? I have a very good reason for not trusting my ex. Namely, he is a convicted felon. I have a very good reason, and then you say namely. Right? And further, एक minute, just a moment. I'll scroll it down. So further, what is given now? In other words, put differently, you see how you emphasize by using certain phrases. As a matter of fact, I love sleeping with my pet pig. As a matter of fact, I can't fall asleep unless he's in my bed. So can I say this is actually used for emphasis? I love sleeping with my pet pigs. As a matter of fact. So you are emphasizing something. So this entire thing makes sense only when this is present. I told them not to invite Rachel to the party. In fact, I was the only person who saw what a party pooper she really was. So आपने बोला कि I was born in Delhi. In fact, my 3 generations are from Delhi. I was born in Delhi. In fact, 3 generations from my father's side are from Delhi or were born in Delhi. I think it would be a good idea to send her some flowers. Actually, you should get her 100 orchids. So people use actually, in a very surprising way. They are emphasizing on something. Indeed, he may be the best dressed man around. Indeed, he has a really good taste in fashion. Indeed means really, yes, in fact. Thank you very much indeed. क्यों बोलते हो आप indeed? Indeed means you are emphasizing that हाँ मतलब हकीकत में from the very bottom of my heart I am thanking you. It's just not for the sake of good manners. So if you talk to a Brit guy, he always says thank you very much, thanks very much indeed. So these are used to emphasize something, and sometimes they can be used as connectors, in which they connect the idea in the earlier sentence with the sentence in which they have come. Clear to all of you people now? So you can keep on going like this. I will share this with you. As for, so this is used to suggest disinterest or dislike. I am going to Janet's party at the weekend. As for Mary's, I think I will pass. So this is always used for showing that there is some sort of negativity in your. I always prefer eating vegetarian meals when I am outside. As for non-veg, I think I would rather avoid it. Something like this. So regarding, with regards to, as regards to, with respect to. So you're linking two ideas. Starting your own IT company may be one of the best things you can do right now. With respect to opening a pet shop, it's hard to say the same thing. So you can do this, but with respect to this, it is hard to say the same thing. So something like this, just these are all less used example. Conclusion is important. In conclusion, in brief, in summary, to sum up, all in all. Meeting my boss at the pub was an interesting experience. In brief, it was a disaster. So to sum up, so these are all conclusions. They usually come either at the end or in between, if there is a conclusion coming in between. They never come at the start. So these kind of sentences you will never have at the start. All in all, it was a very, very good experience. So you go to a certain place, you have a good time there, and then you write a review. You say that this is the first time I came here. We had great meals, great dessert, this and that. All in all, wonderful experience. So all in all shows what? Some sort of conclusion. So these are the writing styles, not only in parajumbles, but also in reading comprehension. When authors write, they are trying to emphasize, they are trying to sound very passive, they are trying to sound very emotional, and they do this by using these kind of adverbs. In fact, adverbs and adjectives are actually emotional clues to something. I nevertheless came on time. So that shows, okay, you are committed to something. So always understand the emotional tone of the author and what kind of route he's taking. Now, rather, this has many applications, but one of the applications is to show correction. I thought it was a good idea to get a ferret. Ferret kuch bhi hoga, tension mat lo. Rather, it had always been my dream to get one. So it was a good idea. Rather, it was always my dream. है ना? She looks a bit quiet today. I would say rather dull or rather unhappy. So your friend is sitting in the corner of the class and you tell her, she looks a bit quiet today. Full stop. Rather, she's a bit unhappy. Did you understand now? She looks quiet today. You made a statement. Then you rectified that by saying, rather, she looks a bit unhappy. So rather basically means what? In fact, in reality, or a change in opinion. It's very common in RCs, even in conversations, in movies. People use rather so frequently. Not contrast. Contrast नहीं होता उससे. उससे क्या होता है ना कि आपने X बोला ना, तो उसको आप करेक्ट करके थोड़ा और उसमें ऐड कर रहे हो. She is quiet today. I would say rather unhappy. So quiet and unhappy are not contrast. quiet is one opinion, unhappy is maybe a little more correct opinion. आपने खाना खाने गए आप लोग रेस्टोरेंट में, तो आपने कहा अरे सूप, द सूप इज फीका है यार, रादर कड़वा. This is, so you say rather. Rectification is very one of the common ways. So these are some of the sentence connectors. I mean, I can just pull it down here. Time. Time is chronology. At first, then, afterwards, later, in the meantime, meanwhile. So my father was watching the cricket match, full stop. Meanwhile, I was solving my Sudoku puzzle. In the meantime or meanwhile. So my father was watching a cricket match, full stop. Meanwhile, my mother was cooking biryani for us, or in the meantime. So at first, then is again a very, very common indicator that you need to connect sentence. Connection chahiye, connection chahiye, connection chahiye. At first, you need connection for it. All these are, so there are so many things. You can have, you can add information by using connectors. You can contrast information by using connectors. You can compare by using connectors. You can show similarity by using connectors. You can show conclusion by using connectors. You can show consequence or result by using connectors. You can show correction of thought by using connectors. There are endless ways, you can show sequence in time by using connectors. And when you read like this, when you write like this, you become a better reader because you are keeping a track of the ideas like this. So we have seen so many connectors, and these you will definitely come across while solving questions on parajumbles and odd sentences both. Look at dismissals of what was said before. Dismissal is not the same as contrast. I couldn't get my head around the passive voice. Anyway, I don't think it's important to use it all the time. Yesterday at the party, she did not talk to me. Anyway, I don't care about how such people react, my presence. So anyway, dismissal. Anyhow, dismissal. At any rate, dismissal of what was said before. कई बार होता है ना, you use the word anyway. So you express disappointment, then you say anyway. Life goes on. So all these connectors, what do they show? They show us that whenever there are two sentences, so is any who a correct word? Any who is not a correct word. Anyhow hota hai. I don't see a word any who in English. Anyhow hota hai. Anyhow means anyhow. Yeah. I reached there anyhow. I reached there somehow hoga. You have to come anyhow. This is also very interesting. Somehow and anyhow. Please come. Anyhow या somehow. I reached there. Anyhow या somehow. Can you use your smartness of language? I reached there somehow or anyhow. Please come anyhow. Yes, people. How would you do it if this question came in the exam? देखो, आप बाजार में गए. See, understand now. This is where language becomes very important. I can't train you for all these kind of things. But as I teach my students, I need to give them some extra information as well. अब मुझे ही बताओ, you are going to you went to the market and there was no other way to pay except cash. And then you touch your pocket. Arey, I'm sorry, I'm not carrying any money. है ना, आई एम नॉट कैरिंग एनी मनी. घर से निकल रहे थे ना मार्केट, मम्मा ने क्या बोला, इफ यू आर गोइंग टू द मार्केट प्लीज कैरी सम मनी. डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड? नाउ आई डोंट नो हाउ टू पुट, बट known I don't know how to put it, but please come anyhow होता है. I reach there somehow होगा. Certain, uncertain, है ना? Did you understand this? I hope I'm able to put it correctly. I don't know how to put these kind of things, but I reach there somehow. तो ठीक है भाई, certain था ना पहुंचने का तरीका. Please come anyhow. मेरे को पता नहीं, आना ही पड़ेगा. So can I say this is substantial? This is not substantial, something like this. I hope you're able to understand this. You're going to shopping, mommy tells you, please carry some money. कुछ तो जेब में रखो. You reach the shopping center and go, oh my God, I'm not carrying any money today. So did you connect these two ideas? Yes or no? I don't know how to put it. I don't know what logic to use. Clear हो गया सबको? है ना? Please carry some money. Oh no, I'm not carrying any money. So I always put examples because this is how I learned language. I cannot give a logical rule to everything. But I hope you are understanding how sentences are created, how they are connected, how they logically come, how the opinions are expressed, how there is transition between sentences. है ना? So your reading, your understanding will become better only if you understand all these nuances. So if possible, let's take one more question now. एक last question ले लेते हैं. I know it's Sunday evening and fourth question. Everyone please try. I will take this sheet again in my parajumble class when I'm taking one more session. But today I wanted to focus on contrast and revise things. Fourth question. Please tell me what is the sequence? Okay. Any connecting idea? Any kind of this accounts? Okay, so we have a connector here. This accounts, है ना? Account for means explains. है ना? But so this also needs a pair. This needs a pair. So how would you go? How would you go? How would you start? C is the opening sentence. I think most of you would agree. There is no doubt about it. C तो opening है, इसमें कोई देखो, don't see. I mean, don't make this mistake of saying no, something else is the opening sentence. You can't open with this. You can't open the study reveals. What kind of study? Which study? है ना? Does not make sense to me at least. So you would start with C. A lichen consists of a fungus living in symbiosis with an algae, जो भी है. Although most branches of the complex evolutionary family tree of fungi have been well established, The evolutionary origins of lichen forming fungi have been a mystery. The evolutionary origins of fungi have been a mystery, correct? The evolutionary origins of fungi have been a mystery, correct? All of you agree? But can I say a new study has revealed something? Something is a mystery, something has been revealed. Can I say they are contrasting? Yes or no? Agree, all of you? Something has been a mystery, but a new study reveals something. Do you see the transition happening? Yes, people? So can I say that if I want to justify A, I have to go from C to A? A lichen consists of a fungus living in symbiosis with an algae. Although most branches of the complex evolutionary family tree of fungi have been well established, the evolutionary origins of lichen-forming fungi have been a mystery. But a new study has revealed the relationship between this and this. The study has revealed, and then you say what the study has revealed. The study reveals that lichen-forming fungi are close relatives of such common fungi as this and this. This accounts for the visible similarity. CABD, everyone agrees or not? So this account is basically given in this statement. Yes or no? Everyone agrees with it? Easy question. This is the kind of question that I call as a doable question. I don't need to be a biologist or a biozoologist or something to understand to get this question correct. I just have to be a simple, I just need to have a simple understanding of language and how it functions. A lichen consists of this and this. Something has been a mystery, but a new study has revealed something. And the study says something. And this, what it says, is the reason behind why it is like this. This is the way you have to read your RC passages. लिचन पता नहीं क्या था, उसकी मिस्ट्री थी, नया कुछ तो स्टडी हुआ डीएनए का, मिस्ट्री साफ हो गई, मिस्ट्री क्या है वो बता दिया लास्ट में. My job is done. I have understood this much. And this much is enough for you to get the questions correct in the RC. So we don't want you to be a specialist of the subject to get the questions correct in the RCs. You just need to be good at understanding and comprehending language. अच्छा बट आ गया मतलब कि कुछ बोला उसने, फिर बट लगाया, फिर कॉन्ट्रास्ट किया, फिर कुछ और ऐड किया, तो द स्टोरी इज बेसिकली गोइंग लाइक दिस. दैट इज एप्टीट्यूड. बच्चा परेशान है, सर मेरे को तो बायो आता ही नहीं है, मैं कैसे करूंगा क्वेश्चन. मैं कहता हूं बायो की जरूरत भी नहीं है, लैंग्वेज तो आती है ना, काफी है. दिस इज व्हाट वी डू. So parajumbles are going to help you in RCs as well. Don't think that is they are two independent sets. No, they are very much dependent on each other. In fact, the RCs are dependent on the parajumbles. And as you solve more and more RCs, your parajumbles will become better because you're reading more and more. Clear to all of you now? Did you understand how to use connectors to connect sentences and how useful a tool they can be in RCs as well? So tomorrow when you read article somewhere, look at the connectors. We don't see them quite often, but yes, they do come. The connectors and the pronouns. Okay, people, is that enough for today now? I will take this entire sheet again. Please ask if you have a doubt. सही है. I was not in Delhi, but somehow होगा, somehow सही है. Anyhow नहीं होगा. because now you have completed this. So there is positive information. Positive information somehow, negative or uncertain anyhow. In 2020, the government of India announced lockdown. I was not getting tickets either of train or bus. I somehow managed to reach home. VA is coming to be easier. In VA, at least 50% questions are easier. They can be done. The rest 50 is moderate or difficult. If you leave VA entirely, then you are short of 10 to 12 marks. That's why don't leave VA. Chalo people, I will share the recording with all of you. है ना? Bye bye. Share नहीं करूँगा. It will get uploaded in the course. Wednesday. IPMAT Wednesday होगा, ठीक है? Bye bye. Good night, all of you. See
What
you.
time?
IPMAT का रात को होगा वही 8 बजे शायद,
Okay.
है ना? कैट वालों का थोड़ा लेट में करता हूँ.